Alright folks, and welcome back to the episode of Casting Conflicts. Today, of course, bringing you the quick recap. As always, start things off here as Banana took on Beastly last episode and came out with the win, shooting him up to 3rd place on our leaderboards, a little bit of that top of the pack. Beastly relatively unchanged from the last match in terms of position on the leaderboard, but still not in the best of places, coming in at 9. But today we have a great one lined up for you as Jump looks to take on Asteroiy and Tweakin'. What a match we have today. You want to talk to us a bit about it?
Yeah. Let's look at Jump's deck first. So, it's a typical, ramp global buff deck with white and green. You got the likes of Blacksmith, Fat Bars, Armories, Rat Hovels. But what's really going to come into play here, I would imagine, are the Dwarven Scopes, the Call of Aids, the more late game cards, if you will, especially with the likes of Centaur. Now, will he factor in a Spiny and maybe a Rat King? That's yet to be determined. I always like to, if I'm running a lot of global decks, I would love to see a Rat King come in here just to have those just monstrosity of bodies coming out to pair with all those global buffs. But the upkeep can wear down, so maybe that's why Jump doesn't is kind of staying away from the Rat King. Now, if we transfer over to Asteroiy's deck...
Hold on. Quick note about that, actually. You mentioned Rat King. Does Rat King actually factor in here because it provides more bodies to avoid E-Strike OTKs? Maybe.
Yes, and that's another thing. And I was just about to mention that once we go over to Asteroi's deck, and we see that his deck kind of revolves around the E-Strike and, high health units to pair with the Spirit Crash card. So... does this deck pair well against Jump's deck? Now, if we remember what Asteroi's last match against Vesaven was, Vesaven also ran green-white, and Vesaven wiped the board against Asteroiy. So maybe this is a hard... Yes, so maybe this is a hard counter. So I would assume that Asteroiy, after that match, kind of, took some time to make a game plan, figure out, okay, I struggled with this deck combination. How can I have a better game plan for when I come up against players like Jump, who runs these same colors? So what I think Asteroid's going to do, or I think what I would do, is I would need to target all the global buffs. If you target all the global buffs, then you're really only looking at Call of Aids, Southport Captain, and Swordsman that are the real threats, and maybe even a Dancing Swords. Jump's deck really revolves and centers around those global buffs, and if you're able to take out those global buffs, I think Asteroiy, with his high health units and high damage units, with the Fenrir and the Shodan, what is that, the Windfall Griffin, I think he could come out with the win. It just depends on, does Asteroiy focus more on the global buffs, or is he going to be, blinded by the big units that are going to be thrown at his face constantly throughout this match?
Right, and that is something that we will have to keep an eye out too. I mean, I do think in our last matchup with Asteroiy, he did maybe get away with the win, mainly because Vesa probably was not at his best. Unfortunately, the deck he brought in was not something I think he was normally going to choose in, and because of that, it definitely, I think, costed him the win. So, I mean, going up against Jump here, who is a bit more comfortable with his deck choice, a bit more comfortable with how the deck operates, I don't know. I think Asteroiy's going to have a harder time with this deck than he did Vesa, and I'm really curious to see if we're going to finally see an even split here, a 1-1 between both players for our leaderboards.
Exactly. And before we get into the match, I'd just like to point out, Jump also has to be careful about when Asteroiy gets a little bit close to his base, because he has that Spirit Crash, and if he has a Wraith or a Shodan or a Griffin, he can take out Fat Bards, Blacksmith, Armories, Rat Hovels,
big 7 damage,
all of that, big 7 damage, and that Spirit Crash. And not only that, that unit will still be alive after doing all that damage. So, even though Jump doesn't have to worry about direct damage, he still has to worry about the Spirit Crash and the Centaurs.
Right. So I think we've pretty much outlined all we can for the pre-match. How about we go ahead, jump right into the battlefield, and see who comes out on top in match number 1.
Let's do it.
All right, folks, and back to the battlefield we go. Here is, of course, match number 1. Looks to be an interesting hand for Jump. Not too bad with the choices in hand. Smith, Ryder, Manicore, Faithful Drake is a nice curve to even things out here. Expecting a strong start from him in this opening match.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you didn't really have to gamble on any of those. I mean, I guess, gambling the swordsman, maybe he could have top decked, a rat hovel. But it's gonna we're gonna probably gonna see, just a standard start from the both of them. We're gonna see if Asteroiy is able to bring out an early board presence here because we clearly know, looking at Jump Stand, that he's going to be able to.
Right, indeed. Okay, so we're not going to push in yet, so Ryder obviously not going to be able to do much this turn here.
Faithful Drake.
He's
Yeah,
gonna take about 5 years to figure out if he
yeah,
wants to play the Drake just to spite us.
yeah.
Oh boy.
Uh,
I mean, I would play the
Faithful
Drake. Nothing wrong
Drake.
with it.
Yeah, yeah.
It can
Play the
make it
Faithful
two for
Drake, and
one.
then you can use the coin to maybe coin into an armory if you desperately need, or you can wait one more turn and coin into a call for aid and start getting those beefy rangers out early for cheap.
Okay, so Lumberjack going into the Drake now, so Asteroiy is looking for cards here. Bard comes out, makes an appearance too. Masuda able to clean up the Faithful Drake while also surviving. That's going to be good for him, especially to maybe interact with this Rider, so it's not a 2-for-1 situation
Yeah,
for him. Rider
yeah,
does go into
that's
the
fine.
Masuda. Okay, good recoil on the Bard. And Black can
I would
follow
have
up.
actually played the mana core so that way the next turn I could coin into a call of aid and not really have to lose any castle health. And I can probably use that mana core to probably position him a little bit well
I
or better
mean,
because now Asteroiy has to deal with that upkeep. So we're going to see a call for aid here.
yeah, we're going to
And
take call for
now,
aid purely because Asteroid not able to deliver a turn 4 play with the upkeep. I think getting the Black that was fine though, because you want to start, evening out against these global buffs here. We know that Asteroid's deck can come in really at any point with some of the bodies that he's got. I mean, maybe not so much now because we've still got things like the Bard upkeep. We're not going to see a Wraith yet. But I think, getting the Blacks without getting the Rangers out now are going to be very good for him. That start producing some big bodies that I don't know if Asteroid's going to be able to deal with. I'm not really sure how well the Rangers are going to be for Asteroiy to remove. How easy they will be to
yeah,
remove.
yeah, I like this position with Jump, just, rushing these Rangers down and, making Asteroiy pretty much dump a lot of his units into his hand to deal with it. Because after next play, we're probably going to see another Northlands Ranger, and then after Astro dumps in, 2, 4 units, depending on if he has to sack that Bard or not, we're going to follow that up with the Swordsman,
Right.
probably an even more costly card than these Rangers, because it will do damage on that castle, regardless if it's your turn or not.
I
That is, if he gets to the castle.
I do want to see. I think probably one of the best options to see from Asteroid right now is going to have to maybe be a Wraith because of course it does survive this interaction because of the Bard giving it that extra point of health. I would really like to see, and it gives again pushes the Ranger back, gives Asteroid some time to breathe here and start getting at least something on the board in terms of a presence to help defend himself against these big bodies coming in. Okay, Rage. Ooh, Ike and
Ooh,
Rage.
and he's gonna take out the blacksmith too.
Yeah, he's not hesitating here. He's going to try and establish dominance, kind of push
Nice.
jump back to the opposite corner here. Do we go for the second Ranger then? I think we are.
You do. You saw how much he had to invest to kill that first ranger. So I would take out that Ramrus, see what he does this play, and then if he does manage to take out this ranger and still has a board presence, like a Windfall Griffin right here, this is where I would play a Rat Hovel. Ooh, the Dwarven Scope
No,
is nice. Rat Hovel,
I
maybe
think
even
Rat Hovel,
followed up
yeah.
with a Mana Core or an Armory.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, it goes for the
just
Mana
depends on what
Core.
you want.
That seems fine. Mana Core providing the Spirit Link to get over the Griffin. Hopefully Asteroid does not pack the Companion in hand to deal with that right away. We know Centaur at this point would be able to take it out. Looks like Wraith going to be the replacement instead. Going more towards the Hovel, it looks like. Okay. Does not like the Hovel as a
Ooh.
threat. Second call comes into the hand here. Do we pop that now or do we double Armory here? Decision
That's what I was
decisions.
just about to say that. Actually, maybe you double armory here, and if Asteroid pushes a little bit too far and a little too careless, you can get that swordsman out and do a lot of damage to the Wraith and the Windfall Griffin, and followed it up with um, the Ranger. Because we have that Manticore down there that could protect the Hovel, depending on if Asteroid plays a Centaur. And if he does play a Centaur to get rid of the Manticore and followed it up with the Windfall Griffin, he will be in position for a nice swordsman play.
So we do see one of the armories go down. The question now remains, does the other one come into play? It looks like it is going to, so creates a 9/6 Ranger. Throwing that in the back and throwing the rat up in front here. Okay. Not too
Curious about
bad.
the rat positioning. I would have just kept the Ranger, do a little bit more damage, get that 9 damage, so that way it will equally trade out with the Wraith or the Windfall Griffin, because now the Lumberjack can easily trade with the Rat, damaging and weakening the Manicore. So now the Manicore can die to any companion or Wraith right here. So what are we gonna follow up here?
I mean, this
Yeah,
is
he's
clearly, I
already.
think, a setup for swordsman here. I jumped dish
Hmm.
did flash it at us, hoping that maybe Asher's positioned a bit awkwardly in order to get swordsman a lot more value from, yeah, like right here. There's a great
Hmm.
value for swordsman to kind of cleave away the Wraith and get both the Griffin and the Wraith without taking as much damage here. After following up with the Kunoichi and the Masuta here, so his hand isn't looking the best. Oh,
Oh, that's unfortunate because now you got to sack the
the
Ranger.
Ranger. Yeah, I was about to
Or
say.
you can sack a blast. No, you can't sack a blast. Yeah, you have to sack the Ranger if you want to get any sort of value out of. I think you do. Unfortunately, you do. You hit the Wraith so he doesn't die. You'll get feared back, so you'll still have it. And you just play a swordsman and you block castle with the Rat for the Kunrichi.
Yeah, I think that's the idea here. Maybe the swordsman can maybe snipe off the Kunoichi, depending on where it's placed. If it's placed right behind the Griffin, the cleave will reach that. I do think that he has to take that risk with the swordsman here and just kind of go for it. Yep, look, he is going to. Wraith picks off the Kunoichi. Or not Wraith, excuse me, swordsman picks off the Kunoichi. Shit. Wraith does eat the swordsman, though. And yeah, that is a near clear board for a jump to work with here. Oh, hello, Fenrir.
Hmm.
Okay, so Masuda was allowed to sneak in. Armory 1 taken out. Kunoichi sneaking in for round 2. Okay.
Blacksmith into a Southport captain, so that way we can probably get that Dwarven scope and snipe off that Fenrir before it becomes an even more problem, is what I would probably do. Unless he's probably gonna play the One Eye Matty and
Yeah.
follow it up with the Southport captain, or maybe a call for aid. He just got to be careful about positioning his units because that last card could very well be an E strike.
Yeah, and all he'd be missing at that point is some type of movement. I think he's running swiftness in the deck. I don't think so. He might have switched it in, but cards like swiftness can easily just get that Fenrir to the movement it needs to just strike for a big 10 to face, and that won't be good for anyone. More or less jump.
Right. I don't think in his initial deck that he had swiftness, but he very well could have added in with his sideboard, which I think would be a very good add.
Right, right. Jump deciding what to do here. He has a limited time here. Will he play the Cannoneer? 7 seconds to decide. Goes for the call for aid. Okay, so once more bodies in the hand, that's okay, but... Oh, there's the Kuno right in front of the Fenrir. What do you think the plan is here?
If he has Eternal Strike, he needs to play it before he does anything with the Kunoichi, just so, Fenrir has another option to potentially hit one of those 4 remaining units. Well, actually, no, one of those units would still be alive. Um, if he doesn't have E Strike, probably take out the Ranger with the Kunoichi, get that 8/1 damage out.
It'll be
Maybe
wild
snipe.
if we saw Fenrir run up for a Spirit Crash. It doesn't do much here, but maybe he's gonna have to resort to that. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but it would be kind of interesting if that was the case. Kunoichi going into the Ranger. Fenrir going into the Rat, being pushed back here, generating a Ramrus. We know this is not going to end well for him because of that Dwarven Scope in Jump's hand.
Oh, and a
Oh,
Bestial Rage.
shit.
This could
Yeah,
end it.
this is
Bestial
gonna end
Rage,
well.
Dwarven Scope, Blacksmith, move the Swordsman up, and actually, before you hit the Ramrus, snipe the Ramrus with the Acolyte just to get another body out. Snipe the Ramrus, move, and then snipe the Fat Bard. It'll hit the castle, it'll take out everything,
Yeah, this is
and
gonna
get
be a
castle
disgusting
damage.
turn for Jump here. This is why. Yeah. Okay. Yep. That's the
Well,
right
I
play.
mean, yeah,
You still got the snipe here. You still got the snipe. Everything kind of
yeah.
falls into place here, and that's got to be it for game one. Asteroiy absolutely no resources left in hand to make any kind of comeback, in my opinion.
Dissipate's the only way. I mean, he does got a fear. Okay,
Ooh,
okay. He must have top decked that Wraith or
probably
whatever.
top decked either component of those. Let's get another
But
bestial
now,
rage.
you just send both Northland Rangers down to face.
Yeah, that's probably the best option here too. Hell, throw the
I
acolyte at him.
wanna.
No, yeah, throw the acolyte at him. Create more bodies to kind of have him
You
worry
could,
about.
you could.
Because
I was just saying, you got sudden death here. So, Southport Captain. Okay. Well, I guess that's more of a realistic game ender because now Asher has to reach that Cannoneer with
literally
and
this
also deal
turn.
with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just way too much, I think. The only thing that could possibly save him now is Fenrir Strike, and right now that is
Nope.
not in the hand, probably. No, Asteroiy, you need to hit a. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, either way, looking at the health, he missed. He wasn't gonna get out of it anyway. But that was a good opportunity. Unfortunately, that small mistake there. You need to hit with the Wraith first to generate that last attack for the Fenrir to be able to kill off the Cannoneer. Didn't see that, but hell, that was an incredible game from Jump. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And we now can confirm that green white is a hard counter to Asteroid's deck.
Right. So you want to elaborate that more in the post game?
Oh, please.
All right. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, folks, and welcome back. Match number one now in the books. Jump walking away with game victory here, and overall, pretty solid performance from Jump, being able to counteract what Asteroiy was doing here with the sneaky E strikes and Fenrir's. Just being able to, I just think, work well with the deck. Honestly, that's best way I could put it here. Cannoneers putting in the work, the Swordsman doing its fun thing. The Call for Aid is really showing why they're on top. Tweaking, I mean, that's really just how it worked out, right? I don't know if you got anything different to add in, but that's how I saw it.
Yeah. Just eliminating Asteroid's units so that, all of his spells become effectively useless. And we also see the benefits of having global buffs. I mean, if we look at Asteroid's deck one last time, we notice not a single global buff. I mean, his only global buff is from Rammus, and that can go on anything. Uh, so I think that's what's really, holding Asteroid back is, once people start playing the likes of Blacksmith, Fat Bards, Armories, that head-on-head matchups, Asteroid's going to lose every single time. And I think what really, you know, put Asteroid in a hole, in which what I mentioned earlier, before game number one, was that Scope, Swordsman, and Rampage. That's what really won Jump the match. And
Yeah,
Asteroid, just with those color combinations outside of Dissipate, really had no way
no
of dealing
answer.
with it.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
just kind of watched his board die there, and at that moment, that's pretty much when the game started to collapse. And at that point, we knew, all right, this was Jump's game. We're gonna have to look to game number two to recover here. So, with that being said, I mean, we do have a game two to get to. Jump with the set point here. You ready for it, Tweakin?
Let's see if Asteroid can pull something out of his ass.
All right, let's go ahead and get to game number two. All right, folks, and of course we're back for match number two here. Of course, Jump running back the same deck. Now, I believe in the time that we have it as an intermission, Asteroid actually making himself a new deck, despite being the same colors here. What do you think Asteroid's got cooking under the hood, tweaking?
It could be anything, really. It could literally be anything under the sun. All I know is Jump does not have the best hand for any of this. I mean, okay, he is going full in with that Elvish Thief. Hopefully, he's going to,
Nope.
and probably gonna have to play a Centaur next turn.
Oh, he's got another one. Unless he
Oh,
decides to pass here and just hold both. It looks like he is going to.
that was
Okay.
a waste of an Elvish Thief.
Yeah, unfortunate, but I mean,
Kunoichi.
okay. Rider,
No
not a
harm.
bad pickup. We're probably gonna go with the
Yep.
Rider here as our safe bet. You don't want to waste the companion Centaur reach, so play the Rider. Kunoichi at the bottom here. Okay, it's gonna do some work against the castle. Looks like. Yep, taking 4 out right there. Beautiful stuff. Metal Bravery into the Call for Aid as a follow up here. So Call for Aid, Asteroids tech in looks like out of the new deck.
Do you gamble or no? I mean, you got to play a Centaur to take out the Kunoichi and then just defend,
I would rather hold
so you
back
can
if I
get
was
it.
Jump, to be
Yeah,
quite
so you
honest.
can
We
get
know that
the
Asteroid's
Southport
got.
Captain out.
I mean, we know that Asteroid's got at least 2 Rangers now sitting in hand. It'd be kind of a waste to throw the Rider up at face damage.
That's what I'm saying. You can only assume that he's going to play that one of those Rangers next turn.
Probably. And we can't get the Cannoneer out this turn, so we can't really afford to take the risk. I mean, I would like to see the Kunoichi cleaned up regardless. I think that's
Yeah,
definitely something that has to happen this turn.
I think he's debating on whether to rush in with the Salahar or keep it as a body block.
Okay, there's the rush.
And he's going to rush.
Takes the chance against the Rangers here, which we're going to probably see at least one, maybe thrown right behind the
Yeah.
Rider, be aggressive, force itself onto the castle for 7, which we really know that he can't afford to take
Oh,
that. Ooh, hello,
he's
Ranger.
just he's just going to ignore it.
Interesting. Okay.
Uh,
Oh God, not in the best
yes,
position.
not in the best. It would be dirty. A multi-strike. That would be dirty.
I'm just doing some quick math here. We'll have 6.
It
We
would be
would. Well,
14,
no, I would
but you
say
can,
if Asher hasn't used the coin yet, right? So we could coin Blacksmith into multi and end game here if we're lucky.
or yeah, or a companion any turn, or a cheap, whatever that card is, where you give 4 plus attack.
Katana.
Yeah, katanas, more bestial rage. Yeah.
Yeah, and there goes Cannoneer.
Oh my God. Well,
Yikes.
everything but the multi-strike, but this is a
God, a
GG.
quick, dirty second game here from Asteroiy, coming in quite strong. Oh my
The only way
word.
is to body block with the manic body block. Well, you can't even kill anything really. You can't even kill the mana core.
Yeah, I would body block here with the Headwood, see if maybe Manicore can't get past that. I mean, go for the Armory, I guess. Why not? Give yourselves a little more power here. Just hope that that Ranger can't bypass the Maddie, which, we haven't seen a Centaur or any companion from Asteroiy yet. A quick Centaur Bop could take out the Maddie, and that'll be game over here. Blacksmith hits the
Oh,
board. Okay, getting closer here. Alpha,
oh
okay,
my
nope, he's gonna
God.
end it right there anyway. Alrighty.
Yikes.
Oh
Yikes. That
boy.
Domination Nation right there.
Quick and dirty. Asteroid does pick up the win in quite a convincing fashion here. I think pretty much that Rampage Ranger combination, absolutely dirty stuff, but did get him the game. So, I mean, you want to go take a look at the post match here, Tweakin, and see what we can break down from this match?
There's not going to be a lot, but we can try our best.
All right, let's go ahead and get to it. All right, folks, of course, match number 2 coming to a close. If we could really even call it match number 2. Really quick game there for Asteroiy. And that just goes to show he knew what he was doing. He knew what he wanted to accomplish, and he really just did just that with the, I think, Call for Aid, the Ranger, the Rampage, and landing a chunk of damage to where Jump could not do anything, I think, for the match.
Right, and there's just one move that I like to point out that I think cost Jump. Well, I mean, I still think he would be able to hit the Southport captain with the Rampage. However, I did not agree with Jump throwing the Salahar Rider towards the castle. Uh, because one, the turn before that, we saw that Asteroiy played Call for Aid, and we can only assume a good 90% of the time that if you play Call for Aid, uh, one of those Rangers are going to come out that very next turn. And if you play and Jump playing that Salahar Rider in the position that he did, allowed Jump to not only clear the Salahar Rider, but have excellent board presence and positioning to play Bestial Rage to take out the Southport Captain and whatever else Jump played. Uh, so personally, what I would have done after seeing Call for Aid, I would have kept the Salahar Rider where he was. So that way, I have a unit on deck. I don't sacrifice him for a measly 2 damage in an early stage of the game. Also, I don't give Asteroiy, dominant board possessions, that clear runway straight down to my castle.
Right.
I can position my Southport Captain in a less offensive positioning, knowing that my castle is still defended because I still have that Salahar Rider on the board. Because he didn't have that Salahar Rider on the board, he had to play that Southport Captain a little bit more aggressive, just in case Asteroiy, just moved the Northlands Ranger one spot forward. Still threatening castle, but out of that range of the Southport Captain. So I think that move, maybe looking back, was a bigger deal, but in the moment I could understand, Jump, you get free 2 damage on castle, you got Southport Captain in your back pocket, you maybe sorry, I can't even speak, but maybe Asteroiy doesn't have Bestial Rage in his hand, but unfortunately we saw he does.
Yeah.
He did, and that, I think, that is what cost Jump the match, losing that Southport Captain and now having to deal with a Rampage Ranger with no way of dealing with it.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, and much like how we knew from a certain point in match number 1, where like the swordsman connected to everything kind of gave a clear board, pretty much a picture-perfect repeat, just with a role reversal, if you will. Asteroiy sinking
Mm-hmm.
in against the Cannoneer really illustrated, okay, this game is over. We're gonna have a game number 3, because at that point, Jump just could not make a recovery with what was in his hand. So, yeah, overall, again, well played by Asteroiy here, knowing what to do, bringing in the counter, and we now have a game 3 on our hands here. Set point up for grabs on either side of the board here. Tweakin, what do you say we jump into match number 3 and see what goes down?
Let's do it.
All right, folks, in match number 3 underway here. Jump switching to the green-red, it looks like, for match number 3, as, of course, Asteroiy back to the good old Fenrir E-Strike Spirit Crash deck. And not a bad start for Jump whatsoever. I don't know, Tweakin. I mean, if you're looking at this hand, you must be excited.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is going to be a undead deck and kind of more of just like a swarm deck. We see White Knight, we see Rad Hovel, One Eye Manti, Elvish Leaf. Are we going to see? Oh, we see the Southport Captain. Maybe not as spammy as I first thought.
Maybe going
You
back
think
to
there's a?
common swarm colors to generate
Yeah,
bodies for E-Strike diversion.
right. You think there's a Racka lurking in here somewhere?
That very well might be. I mean, we're seeing White Knight. It's not often we see her unless she's followed up by some sort of big Rackabomb, especially in these colors. I mean, these aren't night colors, I'll tell you that right now.
Oh,
Oh my god.
oh my God.
Well,
Defend at all
if
costs.
that didn't
Defend at all
if
costs.
that didn't just sum up how this match is gonna go for Jump, man, that just put a big fat exclamation point on the whole entire match. Latarius out of Maddie, the absolute dirtiest trick in the book. Oh dear God. The only way I can see Asher getting out of this one is through coin spiny bestial rage, and that's gotta be, 1 in a million.
That's disgusting. That hurts. You see that? You see a Tarius come out from a one-eye Manti, and you literally just want to Falcon punch your desktop computer.
Yeah,
It's that frustrating.
it's the very frustrating thing about Maddie is when he gets a high roll, man, the high rolls can be absolutely nuts, and this is probably at the top of the list here. Being able to get a double draw in colors outside of yellow, it's absolutely disgusting. There goes
I
Rider number
mean,
one. Pops a rat.
just
Getting a dark
he's gonna go for
bender.
a Dark Bender. Probably he wants to save the Southport Captain for next turn, so that way he can ramp into a Mordock, probably.
Yeah, makes sense. And just get a little bit more defensive here with how many range units he's got on the back of the board here. Maybe deter Asteroiy from getting anywhere close to him.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Rammus lands on the Bard here. Not what I think he wanted.
He's letting Asteroid just come down and hit face. He's really protecting the Lord Terriers and the Rat Hovel. I wonder if that's going to come back and haunt him, giving Asteroid all these free hits.
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, you could be right. The deck does not have any sort of native healing because, again, we are in green-red. But I think this Dark Bender here is also going to do some nice work, help clean the board up a little bit here. We're going to probably see that Captain come back out from Mordock, ramp, and to defend the Dark Bender. I mean, I just think he's gotten in a much better position in this matchup with the addition of Tarius, in my opinion, being able to get to some of these tools that we're seeing.
Oh yeah, I mean the likelihood of Jump now bricking and having you know, uh, no options to play is going to be very low. But maybe I might just be overly optimistic here, but maybe this could play in favor of Asteroid, giving Jump too many choices to decide. And we all know Jump is a very methodical and very slow, time oriented player. And if you give him too many options to think about, maybe he'll start, having to rush his decisions when he starts seeing the clock wind down. And that may, give Asteroid a weird, advantage come
You're
later in the
thinking
match.
like what overload Jump's brain with options to where
Right.
he may not be able to operate? Question mark. Going after a
Yeah.
player weakness. Interesting. Okay. I mean, I liked it. I like it. It would be something that we haven't seen here before, but
Just trying to see the positive side of,
you're
having
right.
the
You're right.
opponent snipe a Lord Tarius.
I mean, and it just seems so difficult to do. The more we look at it here, the more the bodies come out, and things like rats from the hovel can generate so much here. Koru coming out is pretty interesting. It doesn't really give ourselves a clear Mordock target to use yet, but do you think we still play it?
Uh, I wouldn't play it now because with the faction colors, he could easily play, a Bestial Rage plus a, First Strike buff. I think this is where you just, I would either play a Dread Pirate just so I can, spam my next units. I would try to search for it, but if I was Astro, I would give Jump no way of being able to find that unit. So he's probably going to play, yeah, Pirate just to have that,
Hmm.
12 gold next turn and, just ramp out tons of units plus, maybe even an armory on top or a fat bar to go with it.
I guess that's fair. I would have thought that maybe we see some globals sneak in now, but I guess, yeah, with Koru running around and not being able to potentially hit it from where he's at, I guess it makes sense to just kind of avoid interacting with or giving Koru the option to interact with something like arm race and whatnot here. So we're going to see
Hmm.
the Lore Master retreat to the back corner there. You see sort of the rats and Maddie fall back a little bit to protect that big investment here. And then, yeah, okay, so there's the Mana Core, like you said.
Yeah.
Mana Core doing a bit of work here, cleaning up the Elvish Thief beforehand. And then, okay, yeah, there's the Bestial
Yeah.
Rage.
So might as well have been, the first strike. Gets the job. I mean, does the job just as well. Lose the Darkbender, lose the Pirate. So that's why I was kind of hesitant on the Mordock, because the likelihood of Asteroid having something up his sleeve when he plays that
It's pretty
uh,
high.
is pretty high.
Right, right. But now here's an interesting situation. All three Fat Bards in hand.
Yeah, yeah,
How do we feel about that? I mean, I think we're gonna have to start playing some of these globals. So Armory goes down for turn, racing 4. He's still got 9 gold remaining here. Looks like Bard number 1 hitting the board here. It does indeed. So not using Mordock just yet here. Big question now: do we follow up with the Cannoneer, or do we do another Bard or a White maybe? Going for the White looks like. Seems fine to me.
yeah. I would put the right in a little bit more aggressive spot, just so Asteroid, can't have his fun and just hit all these low units. I would try to bait Asteroid into having to hit that 4-8 and kind of expose Kuru and not just have his fun.
Right.
Because if you play Southward Captain, you're giving Asteroid another free reign for his next turn. Where now you're kind of forcing Asteroid to be a little bit more aggressive with that 4-8 White Knight facing down.
Just thinking out loud here, we probably can't get to Lore Master without the aid of a companion this turn. So I'm
I think
wondering.
Lord Master, it's too late now to
You think
go
so?
after Lord. Yeah, he already has good amount. He's got buffs. He's got cards.
Well, we're not going after globals then. Would that be something we
Yeah,
should prioritize then?
I think now you're more concerned about the globals than you are with Lord Master Terrius. Especially with it being it being getting close to the late game, he's going to have options regardless of how many cards he has in his hand. I think right now we need to start focusing on the global buffs and kind of weakening these rats and whatever big units that are eventually going to come out towards the end of the game.
Right, right. I feel like that is going to be the option we do see if Asteroid decides to take it here. Icon hitting the board. Alright, so that does remove one of the rats here, and then I assume, yep, the White Knight as well being taken out. So that is kind of disappointing for Asteroid having to use the Icon at that point here. This does open more docks. Actually, no, not yet. We are not having enough gold for that. But that does leave a more open space, I think, in the later turns for Mordock to now make an appearance and at least generate one unit from a combo. Which,
Hmm.
I think Jump has to be feeling pretty good about. I think. Oh, what do we play here? I think Blacksmith White is the play personally, because honestly, you don't want more upkeep from another Bard. Because again, you turn yourself off of Mordock in the next turn, and with
Right.
Blacksmith, you establish again more buffs, potentially more ways to get rid of that Koru if he has to use it to take out and interact with some of these units here.
I think the best option for Jump is to keep what he's doing right now is keep throwing down units at his face. Yes, you're probably going to constantly lose these units. However, at eventually,
I mean, that's what Lore
Asteroid is
Master
going.
picks up
Yeah,
as well. Like that, I mean, you lose these units, but Lore Master again, able to refill the hand at double the pace that Asteroid is, and even though you're
and
losing units, you're out resourcing him at that point.
right, and Asteroid's going to eventually run out of ways to keep this crew alive. Just because the amount of these rats are just going to keep throwing down face.
Hmm.
Uh, you're going to outlast Asteroid, then Asteroid is going to outlast these rats unless he has some way to deal with it.
Which seems
Um,
unlikely to be quite honest. No offense to
right,
Asteroid, but with four cards and the color matchup that the color combination he's using, there's not really a clear way to produce the mass removal necessary to kind of clean up this board and to even things out. There is no Dragon's Fire, there is no Luminaris, there is no Yenaroth Freeze to stabilize. It's Ninja Druid, which it does have Rampage, it does have Companions, but those aren't good tools for the AoE, the mass removal that sometimes decks like Red Green are notorious to produce.
right, and I think Jump's in a good spot. Yeah, see, I think we're already running out of options here to protect this crew. Jump is playing this really well. He's not giving Asteroid any chance of coming out on face and hitting his castle with and there's the Rat King.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
unfortunately, this is I mean, I maybe shouldn't say unfortunately, but this is what the red green specializes in a way. Swarm, just being able to throw a bunch of things at your opponent here, getting them nice and beefed up as well, partly thanks to things like globals, and then just forcing your opponent to deal with them in the most unconventional ways possible, depending on the resources they have in hand. It's dirty, but it does win games, and we have been seeing that a lot, not only in casting conflicts with things like Mystic Rats as well, but I mean the latter seeing quite a bit of swarm activity as well. It works so well, the combination of multiple units, big buffs, and then pushing them down your opponent. It works. It works.
right, and the only way I see Asteroid pulling this out of the hat is a buff E strike and both those hits somehow, some way land on the castle both times.
Yeah. Okay, Korra reveals himself underneath. He could take out a bard if he wants to at this point, which would be cool, but
This is his last turn.
yeah.
This is Asteroid's last turn.
Dissipate hitting the board here. Armory goes down. Okay. Curious that we didn't use that Dissipate to protect our castle either. Notice how we ended up keeping the 5/8 White Knight on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he takes rid of both rats... Oh, there's the crash. Just enough to take out the white as well. Okay, not bad,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I
That
think
was good,
Asteroiy knows
but
it's over.
yeah.
He's throwing out the respect. Yeah, I mean, that... Probably not the way that Asteroiy wanted to use the Spirit Crash here on casting conflicts, but the way he's forced to in order to keep himself in the game here.
We'll probably see a Southport Cannoneer come out unless he puts that fat bard up there.
No?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
More
Now,
lucky.
yeah, he just realized he just lost that position for the Southport captain.
Heat of the moment there, you might have misclicked
Yeah.
the bard here, and I guess that's okay. I mean, there's such an advantage at this point that even a small misplay like that, it just doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Right. And we're blocking off castle for no, sneaky companions, and unfortunately, this is going to be a wrap.
Shoden, Masuda hitting the board. You know, that's fine and all, but I mean, we're not going to generate a card here. No, he's just going to Dragon's Fire it, isn't he?
Yeah, and can't Lord Master snipe that Shoden as well?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
can. Yep. Dry was moved up. Morlock connects for the 7. We generate a Wraith, big old fat 6/10 butt, and just plopped it right on the face for the set win. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, what a match to talk about there, Tweakin'. There were some ups, there were some downs, but yeah, I think we should just go to the post-match and take a look at what happened.
Yeah. I think that would be best.
Alright folks, and of course match number 3 comes to a close, I believe with the longest one of the set here, as Jump walks away with the set victory, and our first 1-1 set record for competitors here. Seems like everyone's been going either 0-2 or 2-0 here, but finally we're going to see some differences here. And Tweakin', what a match we saw to end off game number 3. Well, I say a game. We all knew it really pulled its weight around in the matchup, and you know, I think it's just the old man deciding to flex his muscles at us again.
Yeah, Asteroid did the best that he could with what he was dealing with. The match pretty much got out of hand as soon as Jump top decked that Lord Master Tarius. And then it just started to snowball after that. You know, you got Fat Bards going down, Blacksmiths going down, Armories going down. You got the Rat Hovel now. And it was really the only a matter of time until Jump was going to, just out-muscle Asteroid with all those global buffs. Now, Asteroid did say after the match that he did have a 12 damage play with Spear Crash that he could play towards the later stages of the match, but unfortunately Jump had 2 extra health that was going to allow him to survive. So I was right with my early game prediction of maybe giving Jump that early castle damage might
Come back to bite him.
Yeah, might come back and bite Jump, and unfortunately Asteroid was just 2 damage away. Yeah. So
unfortunate there, but I mean, hey, it gave Jump the set win here. It definitely is going to shake up our leaderboard standings quite a bit here now with the inclusion of 1-1 records here. I mean, right now as it stands, these guys are pretty much tied at this point in terms of their performances. So really excited to see where their next matches lie and see if we're going to see some more variation, because of course it helps really diversify the leaderboard here and find out who exactly will be our top 5 when it comes to playoff season.
Right. And even those players that are 0-2 or sitting at 1-1, it's still a long season, and anything can happen. So don't count out the players who have yet to get a win yet. There is still a lot of matches left to be played.
Yes, and all players, of course, ready and raring to go. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump to the players and see how they're feeling after a 3-game set. Sound good, Tweakin'?
Let's do it.
All right, guys.
That is so close.
Oh. Welcome back, folks. After what is this? Match number 3. The set, of course,
Yep.
going to jump here. Asteroiy, I guess we'll start with you since you piped up here. How you feeling? I imagine you got some things to say here for sure.
I felt cheated by the Taurus pull. I think I don't think I would have necessarily won, but like getting Taurus that early just like changes so much. Like
Yeah,
I didn't have breathing room.
we mentioned if you weren't going to be able to remove it, there would be a whole lot of advantage swinging toward jump in terms of resources, and that kind of just seemed like what happened. But I mean, like,
Yeah,
how did you feel for the rest of it? I mean, games. Well, what was it? Game 2 or 1? I'm blanking here. I think it was 2 that you picked
Yeah.
up, right?
Yeah, it was game 2.
I mean, you have to be feeling good about that one at least.
yeah. I kind of like I got the coin, and my starting hand I had like call for aid, and I was like, if I can race to call for aid, I get board control and basically. So that's what I did.
Right, but unfortunately, it just didn't seem like the E-Strike Fender worked out for you today. I mean, which is a shame, but I mean, hey, not all days can be winning days. But hey, over on the other side of things, Jump. How did you feel about today? You certainly came out strong with the big hitters.
First game was kind of as expected. I had a bit of an edge on the deck matchup. Game 2, he crafted the perfect deck to counter me, and then got good card draw too, so that was a almost non-existent game. Then game 3, I got RNGesus took the wheel and got the Tarius pull.
I think that pretty much basically sums up this entire set, literally in like a
Yeah.
few short sentences right there. So I mean, Twiggy, do you have anything for these guys? Because I mean, I think that's the perfect summary right there.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have summarized it better.
Oh, all right. So I think that's gonna do it. Short interview for this episode, but hey, that's fine since of course with Jump we've got those long juicy matches. So with that being said, folks, let's go ahead take a look at the standings to see how today's match affects our leaderboards.